I think we can organize a team to absolutely go about the business of winning the $1 million prize of the Startup World Cup. So it's pretty exciting. And it's an ongoing enterprise. It's not just every 4 years like the World Cup that we're currently watching. So that being said, without further ado, let me just say welcome to the AI Super Campus podcast, where we talk about AI. We're taking a deeper dive into AI safety today, and we're going to talk about the AI Startup World Cup for startups. So that's very exciting. We're going to let everybody introduce themselves, but we want to have a basis for this meeting of movement makers so that everybody can understand what we're here for and what we're all about. So that being said, let me share the first video and then we'll listen to your comments. So like I always say, I used to be a movie reviewer for CNN. I had to take notes during the movie so I could write my review later on. So please feel free to jot any notes for your comments, what you would like to add to the conversation. So that being said, I'll start sharing the video.
All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the Startup World Cup. But look, I don't want you to just picture another standard tech conference. No, this is an epic global quest for innovation. It's a massive narrative journey spanning 6 continents, where literally thousands of people are converging on the bleeding edge of tomorrow's tech. If you want to see exactly how global hubs are connecting right now, well, this is exactly the place to look. And you know, like any great quest, there is a massive reward at the end. We are talking a cool $1 million. That's the investment prize waiting for the ultimate champion. The Startup World Cup proudly bills itself as the #1 startup competition on the planet. And honestly, this $1 million call to adventure is exactly why. For a young company, $1 million isn't just funding, it's ultimate validation. It's the rocket fuel you need to take a local success story and absolutely launch it onto the global stage. It's the ultimate hook for the best minds out there. But the sheer scale of the ecosystem that forms around that prize, that's what's truly mind-blowing. We're not just talking about a crowded ballroom here. Try over 50,000 attendees, more than 2,500 investors, 500 plus speakers, and over 100 regional competitions popping up across 6 continents. That is a vast, interconnected network. For anybody trying to break into tech, these numbers prove this isn't just a contest. It's basically a sprawling pop-up city of innovation happening all over the globe. So let's move to Section 1, the Road of Trials. Over 100 regional competitions. This relentless momentum just bounces across the map. We're kicking things off in places like the Philippines in October 2025, then swinging over to Costa Rica in November. Fast forward to March 2026 and the competition touches down in Milan, Italy, right alongside events in Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, South Africa, and Japan. Then finally, in May 2026, the whole journey converges on Silicon Valley. Think about that footprint. It's literally a worldwide scouting mission. By linking an emerging market like Costa Rica straight to the heart of Silicon Valley, it rapidly accelerates cross-border innovation. They're dropping into these diverse hubs, finding the absolute best ideas, and bringing them all together. And the core philosophy driving all this momentum is actually pretty simple. The organizers say this platform is for startups and startup ecosystems of the world, right? So the journey isn't just about crowning one lucky winner who bags the $1 million. It's about interconnecting these isolated local tech hubs into one giant, unified worldwide network. Hosting events in places like Moldova, Tunisia, Nigeria, it's effectively lifting up entire regional ecosystems and plugging them straight into a global grid of resources. Which brings us to Section 2, the ecosystem. Who exactly walks this path? Well, this whole ecosystem runs on the intersecting goals of 3 distinct groups: startups, corporations, and investors. If you look at the startups, their main goal is developing corporate partnerships, and they're dying to network with top-tier investors and experts. Then you've got the corporations. They are there to hunt for business development opportunities by mingling with those innovative startups. And of course, the investors. They're showing up to expand their deal pipeline and explore new markets by meeting the top founders. Do you see how perfectly that clicks together? The startups need the investors' money and the corporations' scale. The corporations desperately need the startups' innovation, and the investors need both of them to hit it big and see a return on their capital. It is the ultimate launchpad because everyone holds the exact puzzle piece the others are looking for. All right, on to Section 3, the mentors, guidance from tech titans. This journey isn't just a free-for-all. It's guided by an absolute elite tier of tech minds. First up, you have J.B. Straubel, the co-founder and former chief technology officer of Tesla. Having a mind that literally helped revolutionize the electric vehicle industry, advising your ecosystem, that is an incredible signal of quality right out of the gate. Then there's Adam Cheyer, the co-founder of Siri, bringing this invaluable expertise from the AI and voice recognition world. This just goes to show that the competition is being steered by people who have practically changed how we interact with our phones and devices every single day. And let's add Neil Hunt to the mix, the former chief product officer over at Netflix. So now you have leaders who have scaled hardware, scaled AI, and scaled global digital streaming, all lending their brains to this ecosystem. It proves the incredible pedigree backing this event. And the sheer density of tech royalty here doesn't even stop there. You've also got Tim Draper, the legendary founding partner of Draper Associates, Diane Bryant, the former COO of Google Cloud, Cindy Stoddard, the CIO of Adobe, and Mike Evans, the co-founder of Grubhub. The concentration of experience, capital, and sheer influence acting as a guiding force here, it cements exactly why attendees, whether they're startups, corporations, or other VCs, absolutely cannot afford to miss out. This kind of mentorship is a genuinely unparalleled launchpad. Finally, we arrive at Section 4, the ultimate boon, the grand finale. This is the absolute pinnacle of global innovation. It's a massive conference and competition that pulls together the top startups, venture capitalists, entrepreneurs, and world-class tech CEOs. This is where the survivors of those 100-plus regional trials finally face off. All those disparate paths we talked about, from the Philippines, Costa Rica, Italy, you name it, they all finally intersect in one single room. It's the grand culmination of that epic journey, where the energy of 50,000 attendees and the intense scrutiny of over 2,000 investors are focused entirely on finding the world's next massive breakthrough. Which really leaves us with a fascinating question to ponder. When you cast a net this wide, touching over 100 different regions across 6 continents, where exactly will the next great innovation actually be born? Is it going to come from a well-established hub like Silicon Valley? Or will a completely unexpected ecosystem rise up to claim that $1 million prize? It's a pretty thrilling thought. We're just going to have to watch the journey unfold to find out. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on the horizon.
All right. I think it's pretty exciting. What I would like everybody to do is to really carefully introduce yourself, who you are, what your background is, so that people understand why your comments are important. So who would like to lead off with the first response to the video? I know Krystal has a deadline and might have to leave early. So Krystal, do you want to start?
Sure, happy to, Mike. Krystal Tristan here, founder and CEO of One Haven. Like the beautiful introduction Mike gave, One Haven is a one-stop digital safety platform that we intend to release in the next few months that's really going to take a bite out of crime across every generation. We're focusing on kids first, but eventually our app is really going to single-handedly help everyone on their devices feel safe and like they're not under constant attack like we are currently. I really enjoyed this video. I do wonder when the submissions were for all the different regions. It sounds like it's upcoming and already have taken place in some places. I did check quickly. It looks like the finale is going to be in November, and so that's super exciting. I also wonder what the stage that most of these companies are going to be under. Are they pre-seed? Do they already have revenue? Are they already launched? That would be some questions I have, just so you could kind of understand what level of competition you could be expecting whenever you jump into something like this that's so global. But ultimately, it looks like a really fun experience for anybody involved.
Yeah, I think you win just by competing. And I'm going to be taking a deeper dive, and then it ends up right in my backyard in Silicon Valley. So that's very exciting. Really wanted to welcome Krystal Tristan of One Haven to the Super AI podcast, guys. And let's now go to Michael Foreman for comment.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Foreman. I'm a professional speaker. I'm an executive business coach. I'm a networking strategist. And what that really means is that I turn your conversations into clients. That means that how you're talking to them, I coach people, workshops for the employees, but then I coach the C-suite executives on how to interact with their newly formed way of networking and everything else. And it has proven success rate. I have my secret sauce for follow-ups and everything else, but it all goes. And I'm also a producer of business expos, business networking expos. I had one back in March. I'm going to have another one in October. I'm about partnering with somebody who is going to have one in September. And I mentioned this on last week. I have an upcoming meeting with a potential client out in Menlo Park to do a show out there. So I'm kind of expanding out all over the place. But as far as the video that we just saw, who are you talking to? The video itself gave you a general idea, but I didn't feel as if it was speaking to me. one thing I learned in podcasting and everything else is that you have to find somebody, speak to them, speak to the cameras if you're speaking to a person. And that's my only take from that.
Okay, just to add to that, good questions, Michael. Thank you for those comments. This is an ongoing competition. It is in process, but it's not like the World Cup. It's going to be ongoing, and like Krystal noted, it culminates in the finish in November of 2026. But then it will be ongoing, and it's free to join. I will be doing a deep dive, and after Ron gives his comments, I'm going to share another video about how we are going to win this competition. So I'm very committed to that. I think we win just by participating. Everybody will win through connections, content, education, but I really think we have the opportunity to win the big prize. So Ron, talk about your movement now with FinFit Life and your comments on the video, if you would.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Krystal, nice to see you. My name is Ron Hory. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm an associate with FinFit Life. And our company name stands for Financial Fitness, Physical Fitness, and Lifestyle. So we want to help people live longer, healthier, and better. So we reward people for walking and exercising, and we also help protect them financially. So we help people deal with two major issues and problems these days. One is health. People are dealing with, and even young people are dealing with diabetes, obesity, various diseases. And then the other problem is money. People are worried about outliving their savings, losing money in the markets. We partner with major financial companies across the US to help people protect their money, grow their money at zero risk. So we are a global company here in the US, Canada, Puerto Rico. And back to the video, Mike, I was a little confused too. It looked like this World Cup contest started back in 2025.
It's been going for a while. It's an ongoing situation, but I kind of look at it like the next direct response industry for products or startups, particularly startups. So, but anybody will benefit because in some ways, if you're an entrepreneur, we're all startups, and of course, we are missing some of our, key members because of vacations. It says we're missing about 4 people from the meeting that are regularly here. That's really what it's all about, Ron. So I know it's just an introduction right now, and it's the first thing that you've learned. But I think this is going to be where the movement where people are headed in the world of AI. So we're going to be learning more about it. I just wanted to introduce it now. It might be the appropriate time to share how I think we can win this and what the importance is to the world, and taking a very big picture about AI safety. So there's going to be some things in this videos that even my longtime friend Ron Hory may not know about me. So I'm going to share something new, and I think this is an exciting video. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the AI Super Campus podcast. I'm Mike Hayes, editor-in-chief of the AI Super Campus. Many of you know me for a long time as a broadcaster and a storyteller, but you may not know that I am also a lifelong certified scuba diver. Now, down in the deep water, there's one rule that rules them all. Safety first. If you don't respect the ocean, if you don't check your gauges, if you don't know how to handle the pressure, things can go wrong fast. But when you do have the right training, that intimidating massive ocean transform into one of the most incredibly beautiful things you've ever seen in the world of exploration. Lately, I've been looking at the tech landscape, and I see a different kind of ocean rising. It's the massive, rapidly growing tide of artificial intelligence. And I realized something vital. Learning to navigate AI safety is just as fundamentally human and honestly just as crucial to your survival as basic water safety. Here now my personal AI publicist to explain more.
Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into something that literally touches everyone, whether you realize it or not. We are talking about the massive, rapidly rising tide of artificial intelligence. But look, instead of getting completely bogged down in confusing tech jargon, we're going to look at this through a brilliantly simple metaphor. Learning to navigate AI, it's just as fundamentally human, and honestly just as vital, as learning basic water safety. The digital ocean of AI is vast, it's incredibly powerful, and yeah, it can absolutely be intimidating, but with the right mindset and a little bit of training, anyone can learn to explore it safely. Now, you might be wondering, am I safe from AI if I just stay offline? I want you to really think about that for a second. It's a completely natural assumption to make, right? Like if you don't swim, you can't drown. You might think that if you stay completely away from the technology, keeping your feet firmly planted on the dry sand of the analog world, well, you're perfectly safe. You're out of harm's way. But as we're about to see, standing on the beach definitely does not mean the ocean can't reach you. Okay, here is our treasure map for today's explainer. We'll start with Section 1, the digital ocean. Then Section 2, dangers of the shore. After that, Section 3, wading in and snorkeling. Then we'll gear up for Section 4, deep dive, scuba safety. And finally, Section 5, a safe frontier. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the digital ocean, understanding the massive and powerful AI landscape. Section 2, dangers of the shore, why the dry sand isn't entirely safe. So I really want to address those of you who might be standing on the shoreline right now thinking you're totally insulated from all this AI stuff. In the physical world, we have something called sneaker waves. These are rogue, unpredictable surges of water that can literally pull people right into the ocean. Well, in the digital world, sneaker waves are these sudden surges of automated scams, synthetic data, deepfakes, and identity cloning. Think about getting a frantic fake phone call that sounds exactly like a cloned voice of a loved one. Terrifying, right? These waves are explicitly designed to snatch a completely complacent person right off the beach. So even if you're just, checking your standard email or answering a regular phone call, high situational awareness is absolutely crucial because you are near the water, whether you like it or not. Now, what's really interesting about this is that these aren't just isolated events. They actually act as an invisible undertow. Automated scams, they are getting more convincing literally every single day. Synthetic data pollutes the everyday information you rely on. Deepfakes can make it look like a family member is in serious trouble, and identity cloning can completely steal your digital presence. These threats act as a massive data undertow, silently pulling unsuspecting people into the depths before they even realize their feet are wet. So having that situational awareness, it's your absolute first line of defense. Moving on to Section 3, wading in and snorkeling, low-risk surface exploration in the shallows. The good news here is that you don't have to just stand on the beach in fear of those sneaker waves. You can actually step into the shallows. This is a low-risk zone. The water is calm here. Think about physical snorkeling for a second. Wearing a mask and snorkel to observe physical reefs. On the flip side, we have digital snorkeling. This is using basic consumer-level AI tools to do simple, helpful, everyday things. Maybe you have an AI summarize a super long article for you, or maybe it helps organize your really messy schedule. This is you safely observing the digital reefs. You are totally in control, the stakes are super low, and it lets you comfortably decide just how deep you actually want to go into the AI waters.
Hi again, everyone. It's Mike Hayes. Sorry for this quick interruption. It never hurts to ask. So please, please, please play our little game of cards where you share life-saving posts just like this one with your family and friends, because remember, the family you save may be your own. Now back to the podcast.
Which brings us to Section 4, deep dive scuba safety, surviving the high-pressure AI frontier. Okay, so when you decide to leave the shallows and head out into the deep water of advanced AI, it can initially seem pretty terrifying. Down here, the pressure is real, and human eyes and ears can easily be deceived by hyper-realistic AI predators and true AI crime. But deep water AI explorers use something called AI reasonability as their underwater gauges and life support gear. Think about it. Just as a physical scuba diver relies entirely on their regulator and their dive partner to survive, an AI explorer has to rely on strict safety practices. You wouldn't dive 100 feet down without checking your air pressure, right? Well, in the exact same way, navigating this deep AI frontier requires a structured, critical mindset to survive the real pressure of this environment. So the crucial point is how we actually put this AI reasonability buddy system into practice. It breaks down into 3 actionable steps. Step 1. Scan for predators. You always need to question the source and the intent of what you're interacting with. Step 2. Verify reality. Cross-check the information on a standard search engine outside of the AI environment just to make sure it's actually true. And Step 3. Filter out psychological traps. This means recognizing when a system is trying to manufacture false urgency or manipulate your emotions. By following these 3 steps, this whole deep water survival protocol suddenly feels highly structured and something you can actually do. Finally, Section 5. A safe frontier, transforming terror into stunning exploration. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate truth of this whole explainer. Both the physical ocean and the ocean of artificial intelligence are wonderfully beautiful when they are properly respected. Exploring this environment safely is about ensuring that you remain the autonomous captain of your own decisions. That is exactly what this is all about. By respecting those sneaker waves on the shore, snorkeling in the shallows to learn the ropes, and mastering your scuba protocols for the depths, you are taking the wheel. You empower yourself. You prove that by mastering these protocols, you can transform what looks like a terrifying ocean into an incredibly safe frontier for innovation and productivity. So what does this all mean for you? Well, it leaves us with one final very important question. How deep will you dive? Look, the water is rising, and just standing on the beach with your eyes closed, it simply isn't an option anymore. But with the right tools, the right mindset, and a strong commitment to situational awareness, this entire digital ocean is yours to explore. So chart your course, stay safe out there, and I will see you on the next Explainer.
I'm Mike Hayes, Editor-in-Chief of the AI Super Campus, and I approve this message. All right, so that's a new approach. I realized the metaphor analogy of learning AI to learning water safety, even if you're on the shore or taking a deeper dive. In fact, I'm planning on interviewing Navy SEALs who teach scuba diving to talk about the importance of scuba diving safety. And just like Michael being a pilot, you have things that you have to check before you take a flight. So that's what it's all about. I put the links that I think are really, and I'm going to re-put them in for Greg Sanders because I have a site for the AI dive school and one for Substack, because sharing stories is what Gary Vee says social media is dead, and that local interest media is going to rule the day. So I have put how we can learn to share local stories, and let's go through the roundtable again. I know Greg was not able to see the entire video, so I put the links for him. But Ron, and then Krystal had to leave. She told me in advance she was going to have to leave, so she just quietly exited. But I'll keep her in the loop with this podcast. So Ron or Michael, who would like to comment on the video about taking a deeper dive with AI?
I'll go first, Ron, if you want. I feel it was a very good analogy that you made between the safety and the scuba diving, because there are so many safety valves with scuba diving that if you don't check one of them, everything else can go wrong. So I felt that was just a very good analogy. What you did with the video actually hit upon just about every safety protocol. I thought it was good.
All right, very good. Thank you. Ron.
I think the real message is, just don't bury your head in the sand and feel like you're going to be safe. Oh, I just thought about that in the
Yeah,
sand
that's a
by
good one. I
tandem
like that.
motion. That was unintentional. But, to be prepared instead of just worried and scared. And learning the steps, snorkeling, wading, going through the classes and the experience. So I think it's a way to alleviate a lot of people's really fears about what's happening and how to really deal with it. Like, okay, hey, you don't need to be scared about the ocean. Hey, first here's a life jacket, right? Or you have that inflatable jacket if you're scuba diving. So I think, the message is just don't turn your back on the ocean, watch it and be careful.
I love "Don't bury your head in the sand." That's a good,
That was
right?
good.
Yeah, that was perfect. Greg, welcome. Greg is one of our movement makers. Greg, you can comment on being a movement maker, even if you didn't watch the whole video. I did put how we're going to win this in the Substack in the chat, so you can take a look at the whole story. There's a lot more to it, and I understand that we can't answer all of the questions in this one podcast, but we can open the doors to a lot of questions. And then, of course, it never hurts to ask. So, Greg, I know you've just gotten back from vacation. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you've been up, the movement that you are making?
Thank you. And my apologies for coming in halfway through. I do have networking responsibilities sometimes on Friday morning. So thank you for being gracious and allowing me to pop in. But I caught the tail end of the Prometheus fire, but the diving metaphor, the thought that I had about that, can I share a thought about
Yeah, please.
that? Okay. So I think when you look at technology in general, people get mesmerized by the television and then they want to buy one. They get mesmerized by the World Wide Web and basically online surfing immediately, and then they want to immediately plunge in. You go out to the ocean, you're on a boat, you see the big blue ocean. You don't dive in right away, even though the water looks inviting. You think about, are there dangers in the water? Are there sharks? How shallow is the water? You think about those dangers, but parents give technology to their children and their families without identifying, enumerating, and guarding against the dangers that they're going to encounter. I think that's a huge and valuable warning, is that if you're going to be using technology, especially giving it to your kids, look before you leap and identify those dangers. So I love the metaphor. It makes perfect sense. And I think it goes way beyond AI. I think any kind of technology is going to change the culture of your family. It's going to change your habit patterns. Okay. What am I up to? Well, we had a 9-day vacation up to Michigan when it was blazing hot in the Midwest. So it was nice to have mid 70s weather instead of 95-degree weather and terrible humidity. But I'm back in the humidity and the heat, but it's all good. I'd say in terms of the movement that I'm a part of, that I'm responsible for, it is morphing, evolving, and becoming bigger. And Mike, maybe just this group and your whole idea of framing this as a movement maker operation is helping to expand my vision. My company is Debt Free America. It's all about getting Americans out of debt. Since that time, I've been thinking about how to put that very healthy emphasis together with other things that I have done in the past, like the Max Community, which is how do you build communities and bring people together. So I now have a new project that's even bigger than Debt Free America. Debt Free America fits inside of it, and it's called Max Life America. Basically, how do you live a maximum life as an American in our society with a mindfulness of community? And how do you use all the different tools that we're here to provide? You're teaching with AI, Mike. Ron's teaching about putting together a healthy life with respect to covering yourself with insurance, what you're doing in building communities, Michael. And just, I think a lot of people, not that I'm trying to have the overarching thing, I'm just trying to do it for myself, right? How do I put the disparate projects that I'm doing so I can have a single focus and not try to pitch too many things when I go to networking meetings, because I do think big. I'm a sociologist. I see the big picture and then I kind of zero in. But that's my new project, Max Life America. My Maxer 360 technology is going to fit into that. The apps that you can give to your town and your city, I'm going to give free technology to cities, have ways of monetizing that by upscale offers, starting with the free. And it's a different business model. You take Facebook, what most groups are doing right now to communicate and build their groups is they're using free social media, and they're sharing all of the data of all of their members with the marketing community, the worldwide marketing community, now driven by AI to annoy you with even more text messages to your phone. The more people find out about you, the more 10x volume of messages you get on your phones. My business model is different. It's a subscription model. It's going to offer a lot of the communication capabilities that social media currently offers for a very low subscription. But the reason people, I think, will pay it is because they know that they are not the product. They are not selling their data to the big marketers, and everything that they do is private to their group. So that's kind of my big vision.
Well, Greg, I think you're going to be excited to learn about what we introduced today. And I'm not going to share the video again, but I will tell you, and then I'll have Ron and Michael expand upon it as they would like, that we are going to enter, and if you compete in the Startup World Cup competition in various cities around the world, and then it culminates in a $1 million prize awarded in San Francisco in November. I introduced that today, and just by competing in it, you win through networking with corporations, with technologists, with all kinds of different benefits, and it's free to enter. I have a whole strategy that I've outlined in the Substack that I posted in the chat. So we're going to be focusing on taking a deeper dive into the Startup World Cup competition that is really being hosted by the top technologists. Michael and Ron, would you like to kind of comment further on your initial reactions to it?
I think the idea of, this global contest is going to attract a lot of attention, not only from people who are in the startup world, but I think people who are, have their finger on the pulse of AI and what's currently happening and what's coming also. So I think it's a great way to, have this global collaboration of the leaders in the technology of AI that's literally changing everything.
Michael?
I want to expand a little bit what Ron was saying. If you took this 10 years ago, you had a startup, you really had only your local reach, even regional reach at the most. But this gives the startup or the business that's in its infancy a chance to not only be nationwide, but globally. And it really gives them a step up to anything that they even thought of, because they would start doing business with somebody from New York to California, but from Georgia to England to Nigeria it's global. So I think this is a great way to start up. But as soon as you figure out how each company can enter this, and take off from there.
Well, let me explain something, why we're going to win this competition. It's something that Gary V shared. Gary V has 55 million followers, and he says social media is dead. Social media is dead. And he proves it by using his 55 million followers that a local person doing a local interest story can get more views than he can get with his 55 million followers. And so he says the algorithm has completely changed and that what it is tracking is sharing stories. And so that's the number one thing. And that's what I talk about and share about what Gary Vee says in the Substack story, which is posted in the link. So we can win this competition. Is outline of how we can do it in the Substack story by sharing stories and helping each other, sharing our stories on Substack for local media. And last week we had Christine Camp here, one of the local media, that she's focusing on me in a story and my son in Greet Moraga magazine. So we can recruit local media, we can recruit all of the strength of Grow with Google format, and we can win this whole thing. But, it's like in the World Cup, you have to compete. And it's interesting because we often talk about the importance of collaboration rather than competition. But in a competition like this, we actually compete to become the best collaborators and with each other. And so when we can do that and share stories, we can win this entire competition. And when we go into it with that attitude, that's what we really need, is that true leaders enable movement makers. And that's kind of the attitude that we want to take, and how we can really take the bull by the horns. We're not behind. We're really ahead of the curve right now. All we have to do is get our head out of the sand, as Ron said, jump into AI and learn about something that can really help us, because I'm a simple Christian, but I've been practicing Buddhist principles for 50 years for achieving world peace and personal happiness. And when we have more people learning about how to become reasonable people as human beings with the help of what I've discovered, AI reasonability, which is the new social science. And one of the reasons I love having Greg here is because he is a sociologist. And I learned this at Oxford University when I had the great opportunity to lecture there. We've got the perfect opportunity. We're kind of in a perfect storm, but it's up to us to put up our sails and use that to help us sail. So that's where we are right now. We just have to be bold and take advantage of the opportunity. So I hope you will check the Substack article and go to the AI Super Campus. You can click and get to it right there. I hope we can pull this all together. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. So you got some work to do, but the main thing is, like I said in the video, please, 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 please start sharing stuff. The person and the family you save may be your own by sharing. So let's start sharing and caring and helping each other.
Well, that comment you made, Mike, really caught my attention when you said Gary Vee, said that social media is dead. I definitely want to look up that information in your Substack because, from his point of view, they're basically the quick take I got is that the storytelling on a very personal level, it's like a one-to-many personal reality sharing is gonna as Gary Vee would say, has outpaced just the typical posting and so on. So
You're
I definitely want to
absolutely
look
right,
at that.
Ron. That's exactly it. He said that the algorithm has changed, and you really can't fight the algorithm. I mean, it's the tidal wave, and you have to go with the flow. So we are right on top of this change to interest media and local interest media in particular. So let's all share, let's all help each other, let's pull together and learn how we can be the winning team of the startup World Cup. And I think we can absolutely do it. I really believe that 100%. You do have to have, like Greg said, you have to have a very big picture. And so I tried to take the biggest picture I could possibly find. Because about 95% of the globe is unprepared for the rising tide of AI, especially super intelligence. They're just not prepared for it. And so we have the biggest opportunity that's probably ever existed in the history of mankind. We have the tools to seize it. We have the team and the brain power, and we're just getting started. Then to hook up with the Startup World Cup and all of the leaders there, I really think that we have such a compelling story that we're going to win just by competing. And if we compete hard enough, we'll win the whole cup.
I love that. Go for the
Absolutely.
gold.
Go for the gold.
Absolutely. Gold for the gold or not at all.
Exactly. Go big or go home.
Yes,
That's it.
yes.
I do have a quick comment about the social media is dead thing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that that comment was also posted on social media to help expand the distribution of that thought.
Yeah.
And so my thought in reaction to that is that social media is not dead. It is just often misguided. And if you see some of the biggest hits on social media, it's when people actually tell stories. So maybe part of what we can do here to garner support for your project, Mike, and our project is to think strategically about not only how we organize and prepare, but how do we, in a good way, use social media if we need to. But I agree that, glitzy ads and things like that, they're so easy to produce with AI now. People just see it, and even funny stuff, they just see it and they go right over. But if you're there telling a story, it's authenticity that's going to sell the value, even the continuing value of social media. It's real human stories and interaction.
I agree with what you just said. Gary Vee said, he's the one that said social media is dead. That's his quote. And he is a master of social media. I think what he is saying is that the starting point has been reset and that we're all on the exact same starting point at this point. Yeah, we can still use social media, of course, but the way to use it is through sharing. When the algorithm sees that your stories are getting shared, that's how it's going to boost you up. So that's kind of the new take. But check it out. It's all right there on the Substack. This is the full picture. The Substack carries the full picture of how we can win this competition and that we all win by competing. Okay. So let's become competitors as collaborators. That's the best of both worlds. All right, so that's it for today, the AI Super Campus, guys. For all of my friends, Greg Sanders, Michael Foreman, Ron Hory, Krystal Tristan, who had to drop off, my son, Joe Hughes, and my fellow collaborators, Christine Camp of Greet Moraga Magazine. Thanks for joining us on the AI Super Campus podcast. Thanks, everybody, and see you next week, same time, same place.
Thank you,
Adios.
Mike. Have a great
Bye.
weekend,
Thanks, Mike.
everybody. Okay, great session, Mike. Thank you.